Before I go over chapter 1 of this book, let me give you the prologue because you need a background story about his beginning, how he ended up, the way he ended up, and what he did to pull himself out of it. So, name of the author is Chris Gardner. He is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He served 3 years in the Navy in North Carolina. His story starts in the early 1980s. He's 27 years old, living in San Francisco, California. He thought that San Francisco was a combination of the land of milk and honey and the Emerald City of Oz into one. He lived in the Tenderloin district. Now, I was going to show you the map of San Francisco. However, all the images on the internet are copyrighted. Even the maps, road maps are copyrighted. So you can just Google that, see exactly where the Tenderloin is located. At night, the city lights of Nob Hill and Pacific Heights looks like real jewels. In contrast, the Tenderloin and Mission districts are rough neighborhoods. From Fisherman's Wharf and the Marina districts, you can see the bay. He loved driving over the Bay Bridge from Oakland, from Daly City heading toward the Golden Gate Bridge, as well as dropping into Marin County. Even in the early 1980s, San Francisco had steep rents, chronic car repairs from the steep hills due to transmission and brakes take huge beating, and parking tickets. And early 1981, Chris became a first-time father. Now, the pivotal moment in his life happens when he's in front of San Francisco's General Hospital. It's a local county-owned and operated hospital. It's still there. Name is a little bit different, but it's still General Hospital means it's a county-owned and operated hospital. He remembers that day. It was a hot day. A red convertible Ferrari 308 pulled in front of him. Chris offered him his parking spot where his car was parked in exchange for intel. Chris wanted to know, what is his job and how do you get the job? Now, the other driver replied, he's a stockbroker. Chris did not know what that is. He does not know, he doesn't have the knowledge, he doesn't have the experience. However, he was determined, he's dialed in. He's determined to do whatever it takes to get that job. So this was one of the worst times in San Francisco history. Everybody knew about the city's homeless situation. The state cut back on spending on mental health facilities, limited treatment options for Vietnam veterans who had post-traumatic stress disorder, and the same problems that other cities in the United States was experiencing at that time. The winter of 1982 was especially harsh. Government programs were being eliminated. Jobs and affordable housing are decreasing. At the same time, cheap street drugs were increasingly available. It was one of the rainiest and coldest winter as well. By that time, Chris and his 19-month-old son are walking outside with the blue baby stroller. People walking past them didn't realize that they were homeless. He wore one of his business suits. The other business suit was in the stroller, along with articles of clothing, toiletries, box of Pampers, umbrella, and a briefcase. Sometimes they slept at trains or at an airport. On occasion, they slept on the floor of a bathroom at a local tram station called BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. The fact that they could lock the door from the inside was a blessing. It kept them safe. His mental focus on someday buying a similar Ferrari kept him sane during these rough times. Also, he used the words of Reverend Cecil Williams from Glide Memorial Church in the Tenderloin District as his mantra, "Go forward." The Reverend took care of the homeless in what became the first homeless hotel in the country. He remembers the Reverend telling the parishioners, "Don't just talk the talk, you must also walk the walk." There were other pivotal events that steered him to his future. In March 1970, he was 16 years old, living in Milwaukee with his mother, stepfather, and 3 sisters. The Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement were happening at the same time. TV were the focus of Chris's attention, specifically the last two games of the NCAA, that's basketball, Final Four, also known as March Madness. Two of the players were over 7 feet tall, Artis Gilmore and Pembroke Burroughs III. They helped Jacksonville advance to the Final Four to face St. Bonaventure. Jacksonville won, but lost to UCLA. Gilmore eventually had a career in the NBA, while Burroughs was drafted by Seattle and eventually became a Florida Highway Patrol officer. When Chris told his mother they would make $1 million someday, his mother said something that stayed with him his entire life. She told him that he, too, will make $1 million someday. The message he took was that if he wanted to do something bad enough, so bad that he can taste it, then he can do it. The driver of the Ferrari showed him the way, while his mother planted the belief that he could attain any goal he sets for himself. Disappointments happened to her before and after he was born. However, by daring her son to dream, she was given a second chance. As a result, his story is also her story. So questions, comments, constructive criticisms, asking for clarification, let me know. In a couple of days, I will start with chapter 1. Take care.